We used to play a lot of music at this rock club in Allston, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. And sometimes at the end of the night, after rocking out to Hendrix and Zeppelin, we just somehow play this tune. And it was just like a release or something.
I'm Ian with SBL, and today we have such a treat for you. Danny Mo Morris of Berklee College of Music fame is in the studio with his trio playing a funk version of Donna Lee. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Donna Lee is a legendary bebop jazz standard written by Charlie Parker or Miles Davis, depending on who you ask. But it was really made famous in bass world by Jaco on his debut solo record, where he played the head and an incredible solo in a duo setting with only congas as the accompaniment. I hear that now and it's so awesome, but I remember in real time when my first teacher showed that to me, I didn't have any context for it and it sounded insane. If I'm honest, it just sort of sounded like noise to me. And it wasn't until I started to work through that tune slowly where I could even begin to hear how beautiful that melody was against the chord progression. And that's what you're going to get today. Danny and his band are going to take you through Donna Lee, but slower.
This is a great song to practice your foundation and otherwise. The melody is fantastic. You're playing like an A flat, like your first chord. I mean, how many of you would think of starting a melodic idea on the 7th? Put it all together. You got the melody from the top.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Oh. Sorry to stop you. It was a teaching moment. I mean, you guys are working on your diminished chords. I mean, it's just such a beautiful melody. Big, you play that, what would the chord be like on a lead sheet? B
with
diminished 7?
On that part?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a flat diminished.
Yeah, A flat diminished.
7.
Okay, so in another lesson, we learned the symmetrical diminished scale. So you play A flat diminished. There's your major 7 on a diminished chord, and it sounds beautiful.
So when Danny's talking about this symmetrical diminished scale, you can really just think about this in terms of a sequence of half and whole steps. They're talking about it from A flat diminished. You can think about this as a whole step, half, half, whole, half. The pattern just repeats. You stack it to the sky, right? Another cool way to do it, I like to see it this way, is starting from a half step below the root. So in this case, a G, and then you start with that half step. So you see the half step, whole, shift up for a half. And then you just do that same thing here. Whole step, half, whole, half. To the next string, which is a whole step, half. You stack it. But that great moment in the head where Bird and Miles play this, they're not using the entire scale, they're just using the chord tones. Let's think about this in terms of B diminished. You can think about it as A flat diminished, but you go up a minor third, and it's actually the same scale. B diminished, okay? But let's just take a look at the chord tones of this. We have a root, a flat third, a flat fifth, and then a double flat 7, a diminished 7. What even is that? Okay, there's an octave. Here is a natural 7, right? Here's a flat 7, and then the diminished 7, or the double flat 7. It just looks like a 6th, but it is a minor third away from the root. So in the context of these chords, it just sounds so transitory. It sounds so dark and like, puts so much tension into the chord, and then the diatonic figure that they play at the end releases that tension, and it's amazing. But I don't want you to think about these chord tones this way. I want you to think about stacking minor thirds. That's all you're doing. So root, you go up a minor third, you go up another minor third, again, 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 again. That's what's happening here. So in the context of the lick,
when Jaco Pastorius came out with the Jaco Pastorius record, we all heard him do it with
Don Alias.
Don Alias
Don
on like
Alias.
tabla?
No.
Congas.
Congas.
Yeah.
And it was a mind blower.
Yeah.
It
And
worked
anybody
perfectly
who was
over that,
studying
yeah.
electric bass at the time, which I just started, you had to figure it out. But I certainly, I wasn't looking at sharp nines and flat nines. I wasn't hip to that vernacular yet, but I just learned the melody. So that's why sometimes in the forums, people are codifying things to, why is it this number, why is it that number? Well, music theory is music theory, but use your ear and just figure stuff out. You don't need a license for this stuff. Just figure it out. That's how we all learned how to play,
Right.
by listening to records and listening to music and figuring it out. You don't know necessarily all the ins and outs of it. Why does this exist? It is what it is,
Yeah.
and it's killing. So we're going to give it a roll with a slightly different feel.
We love Danny Moe Morris at SBL. He has some amazing content, including courses around rhythm section development, Motown, soul, R&B bass playing, and he is a fixture of our Mentors program where he has live streamed hours and hours of content that's archived over at scottsbasslessons.com around song analysis, breaking down all kinds of classic bass lines. So if that sounds like something you want to check out, it's so easy. Grab your free 14-day trial and you can dive right in. I'm Ian for SBL. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.